It's the Flow Friday Night Sports Show, and let's head now to Northern Areas Footy and have a look at what went on there last weekend. The great Graeme Spud McKay has been out just making sure that there's a crop to harvest this year through the week. Let's bring him in now. G'day, Spud. How are you, mate?
I'm pretty good, thanks, Jace.
All right, first of all, you know the deal. Before we get stuck into the footy, a crop report. How are things going around Jamestown?
Well, they're just starting to emerge, well, there's plenty of moisture there, so hopefully it'll be all right. But you've got to feel sorry for the blokes in the Mallee, don't you? Because some of them haven't had hardly any rain in June.
Yep, that is definitely true. Got much left to put in, or you're all done, or what's the story?
We've got a couple of days still to go of barley, that was all.
Okay.
But all the wheat's in, and let's hope it's... we'll need a pretty good spring when we start getting as late as what we are.
All right. Well, let's hope you get that. But all right, now we can turn our attention safely to the football. And whilst it's good news in the paddocks for Jamestown Peterborough folk, probably not so much on the footy field. Broughton Mundura gave your boys a fair old touch-up on the weekend in front of the home fans. Broughton Mundura away from home, 20 goals, 6, 126. Jamestown Peterborough had one goal in mind but couldn't find it. Just 4 behind, Spud.
That's right. Very good straight kicking by Broughton Mundura because the oval was pretty wet and it did rain there prior to the A-grade game. Rain for the juniors and seniors and probably up until 2 o'clock or so. So it didn't make for good conditions, but Broughton Mundura did handle it very well. And Jamestown Peterborough probably they'd be disappointed with that because failed to score anything in the first and third quarters, and 4 points for the day just isn't enough, unfortunately. But they still keep having a go, and there seems to be the same ones in the best players for them, so that's good. There's Henry Hall and Matt White and Daniel Clark are consistently and they're all young players, consistently in their best. So that gives them some promise. I've probably got to mention Will Hewitt. He kicked 8 goals and he leads the goal kicking at the moment with about 48, I reckon. Yep. So he's about 10 ahead of Nick Holmes. So that's he's having a pretty good year up there forward. He's found his mark up there. He used to play on a wing. But he's pretty good at close range now, so that was a good effort by him on the day.
Absolutely it was. So, yes, that is spot on, Spud. So, unfortunately, Jamestown Peterborough have got plenty of work to do, as we know, but Broughton Mundura in the top 2 finals awaits them. Let's move on to other games, and here's the surprise packet of the weekend, not necessarily the fact that Southern Flinders got up over Crystal Brook, but the way they did it, this should have been a massive win. In the end, though, 9 goals, 22-76. Crystal Brook, 3-5-23. Southern Flinders, 31 scoring shots to 8. Far too good, Spud.
They were, but yeah, straight kicking. You've got to do that if you want to finish off all the effort you get getting the ball forward on you in the first quarter. 1 goal, 11. That sort of once you start missing 2, we see it at AFL level where they miss a couple and then suddenly it just grows and that keeps the opposition in it. You've got to sort of nail those shots and then you can sort of. Some of them I don't think were that difficult, but look, a good effort by Southern Flinders because that now puts them. I don't reckon they'll miss out on finals from there. That they'd want to play fairly poorly in order to do that. So they've got 5 wins now with 10 points, and they're level with Crystal Brook, who's on 10, but got a little couple of percent up on them in their percentage. So that's pretty confident for Southern Flinders to go on and at least take part in the finals this year.
Yep, they'd have to do a lot wrong to miss out now, given the other result, which we'll talk about in a moment, which puts them 3 games clear of the BMW in 5th spot. Effectively now, BMW have got to beat either Orroroo or Broughton Mundura just to get level on points, and you just wouldn't think that that's going to happen, Spud. So Whilst it's not mathematically impossible, it's getting to that point, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And, I think there's probably a few injuries starting to crop up now, so that makes it even more difficult.
Yep. And I mentioned BMW. This is the one that got away for them. They took on the top of the table Orroroo, 9-14-68 Orroroo, 7-7-49 for BMW. But they were 29 points down at quarter time. They hadn't troubled the scorers at the opening bell in terms of goals. They had 3 behinds on the board. After that, it was a fairly even contest, and you'd say BMW probably shaded the top side.
Yes, they did. They would have outscored them in those in the last 3 quarters. But, of course, you can't have a disastrous first quarter like that and fail to get a goal and allow your opposition to kick 5. So I guess the match was pretty much won in that first quarter. I mean, Orroroo, for the first time, we don't see Aidan Lee in their best players. And I think that... Darren Hughes, I reckon he might have been injured too, so they probably lost both of those before half time, and that it would have a bit of a bearing on that result there, I would have thought, because they're 2 key players for them.
Yep, no doubt. So BMW now they've got a mountain of work to do in the last 5 games to make finals. Orroroo, top of the ladder and gearing up for a big finals campaign, of course. Shout out to Whelan for BMW, booted 4. Booted 4. And Homsh and Hughes 2 each for Orroroo. But you mentioned Hughes probably coming off the ground after an injury early in the game. So bad luck for him.
Yes, he's only just came back from an injury, so he's sort of not having the greatest of luck in this season, but hopefully he gets back on track and is fully fit for the finals for them.
Yep, okay. All right, let's have a look now at round 11, which is coming up this weekend. Of course, last weekend before the country champs. I believe Northern Areas will break for that weekend, Spud?
Yeah, no games during the country champs, which are going to be down at Vic Harbour, so Northern Areas will be part of the Northern Zone, which is they've been there for a few years now, and that's a little bit different to what it used to be, where we were part of the Central Zone. So they put us up there. There'll be some players will get a rest, and they will sort of be really pleased for that. But our better players will have to front up down at Victor.
Yeah, indeed. Well, we've got a cracking round of footy. First of all, at Jamestown, your boys, Jamestown Peterborough, will take on the informed Southern Flinders, who, save for their goal kicking, probably the informed team in the comp right now. They're flying. So Jamestown Peterborough just need to kick a score, Spud. It's as simple as that. Yeah,
they do. And this would be back to the round 1, because we've played 2 complete rounds now, and Jamestown Peterborough played Southern Flinders in the first game of the year. So we're back to the start of the 3rd round. As I mentioned, their 3 young players, White, Hall and Clark, are all playing pretty well for them. Greg Farr does his best in the back line, but sees plenty of the ball going over the top of his head most times there. But Southern Flinders will, I think, obviously be too big, but we'd just like to see Jamestown Peterborough be able to kick 5-6 goals, I think.
Yeah, that's what it's all about for them. All right, last chance at Bullaroo Centre for BMW. It's as simple as that. If they want to have at least a chance of playing finals, this is must-win stuff against Crystal Brook. They're at home. Can they win, Spud?
I reckon they can. This might be a chance to get the Brook, because they are probably not flying at the moment, having lost against Southern Flinders. But it'll take their best effort. Lucas Kanga and his brother, the coach Alec, are the key players for them. But they've got Nick McCullum up forward for them. Braden Battersby is good in the back line. And the 2 older players in Simon George and Brad Taylor will endeavour to push the ball forward and give Nick McCullum enough opportunities to kick a bag ball. Crystal Brook, on the other hand, Braden Kirk has been good for them all season. Luke Capitola still works his hardest in the centre there, trying to get the ball out, but he does need support with runners and that sort of thing to be able to get the ball moving. If they can get it forward, Daniel Hill will present a problem at full forward for BMW, but it's played at Bullaroo Centre, so every possibility will be pretty windy up there. and so therefore conditions can be difficult. I reckon BMW may just get over the line here, but it'll be a really tight game, I think.
It certainly will be. And then the last match of the round for us to talk about is Orroroo taking on Broughton Mundura at Port Broughton. And Orroroo win this, they absolutely sew up the minor premiership, which is probably really here nor there. But for Broughton Mundura, if they can pinch a win here, it'll give them some confidence ahead of the coming final series that they can beat the top side. Not only that, they'll sew up the double chance. So it's a big game for both clubs still.
Oh, yes, certainly a lot on it. We obviously don't know who's going to front, whether Aidan Lee is fit enough to be able to play this week, and Darren Hughes too. But look, you go out with the players you've got, and Broughton Mundura being down at Broughton will give a really good account of themselves. Tommy Whelan has been in terrific form at centre-half back, and he'll be well supported by Dylan Hewitt, Callis Bria, Matty Hayes, Kane Bowley are there on ballers who will give plenty of drive. But you would think that Orroroo, with their depth, have still got the ability to be able to win this game. Patrick McCarthy at centre-half forward for them is a real impressive player. Nick Homps at full forward has kicked plenty of goals, and Luke Bowman is up there for them. And don't underestimate Orroroo's backline, because that doesn't get a lot of mention because they've been scoring a fair few goals. But Jonathan Biley, Damien Ellery, Declan Duffy and Billy Tatscott are all really reliable players in that backline for them. So I'm tipping Orroroo, but it'll be a very tight game.
You mentioned that Orroroo backline, they're conceding just 36.2 points a game. So 6 goals a game. I mean, that tells you how well they're going. That's not, you're not going to lose too many games if that's all you're giving up, are you?
That's exactly right. And like those players I just mentioned there, you very rarely see them in their best players because it's the on-ballers and forward line players that are getting the accolades. But never underestimate a quality backline, because they're the ones that really keep you in good stead when the pressure comes on in finals.
Spot on, mate. Well, should be an interesting round of matches. Spud, anything else before we wrap it up?
No, that's all, I think. But a really good round. And then, as I said, the break for most of the players next week will be welcomed, I'm sure. And then they can head off into the last part of this season, and it'll be all stops out in order to see who can come out on top at the end in the grand final.
Spot on, mate. Well, look forward to catching up with you next week to see how this round of matches plays out. Enjoy the weekend. Good luck for the next couple of days finishing off that barley, and we'll catch up with you next week, mate.
Good on you, Jay. Catch you next week.